Okay, for those of you that haven't noticed, I'm going to be talking about geography. My name is Dave Dagger. I've been teaching geography now for 10 years. There's another geography teacher called Darren Jeffrey. We teach the A level between us. There's a reason we do that. Is my speciality is human geography. His speciality is physical geography, which is quite fortunate. So we play to our strengths. He teaches the physical, I teach the human. Our degrees, going back that far, that's what we were specialists in back then. I'll start off talking about entry requirements and what you need to do A-level geography. I insist on a B in GCSE geography. There are a couple of reasons for that. We are pretty successful at GCSE results in geography in Monitor. Now that's a good thing, but what it means is we seem to be able to get lots of students a C that wouldn't normally have got one. And I suppose I go so far as to say if they've gone to another school they may not have got that C. So that we insist on a B in geography. Anyone getting below a B is going to struggle with the written element and some of the content, some of the mechanical theories you've got to get your head around. Okay. I have been known to be flexible on that, particularly if a student I know and there's a particular reason why they've underperformed in their exams or whatever. So it is open to negotiation, but generally speaking, it's a pretty hard and fast rule. Okay, I do relent on it sometimes in certain circumstances. It is very academically rigorous, this subject. The other thing is a grade 5 or above in English language. Being able to write and articulate your answers is really important. At GCSE, we get some students that understand the geography really well, and they don't need to articulate themselves that well to get the marks. It's very much on the geography. At A level, it's slightly different. You have got to write fluently and in an organised way. So we ask for a grade 5 in English language. Again, I have in the past, in one round and allowed students to do it with a lower grade. Do you know why it's a B in geography and a 5 in English? Does everyone know that, or do you want me to explain that? Hands up if you know why. Hands up if you want me to explain that. Yeah, okay, right. There's a whole raft of new GCSEs that have come in. English and maths were first, and geography is in the second tranche, okay? So we are still on A star to G grades. So your students, your children in geography will get an A star to G in geography, but they will get a 9 to 1 in English because they are a new spec, and our new spec doesn't start until next year. They come through next year. So this is a transition year. It's quite confusing and it's quite complicated, but we've gone for a grade 5. I'm likely to be more negotiable on that simply because it's changed. Okay, but that's what I like them to have. That's an example of an exam question. I'm not going to read stuff to you. I don't like people reading PowerPoints to me, so I'm not going to do it to you. That's the sort of thing they've got to be able to articulate. They have to get 15 marks out of that, and it's not an easy question. Now, we teach them it, but they've got to be able to articulate it. I suppose this is kind of obvious. If they've done GCSE and they've enjoyed it, then they're going to enjoy the A-level, okay, if they've enjoyed their GCSE. Kids have they prefer different subjects, they like subjects, they don't like subjects, they have a bad day on their timetables, good days, whatnot, but basically if they've done GCSE, they're going to enjoy the A-level. Okay, I think the A-level is probably more interesting, more engaging than GCSE. You need a certain skill set to be able to do it. The B should guarantee that they've got that skill set. She's in there because that requires a certain skill set. I don't know whether some of you could do that. We did try that in the office, me and Darren. It didn't end well. It didn't end well, okay? We're going to try again tomorrow, all right? But could she get a good grade in A-level geography? I can do that, okay? But that I can't do. You need different skill sets for different things. You'll see different subjects tonight, and you will need different skill sets for all of those subjects. The content, some of it is similar to what they would have done at GCSE. So the topics are similar, but they go into stuff in an awful lot more detail. Okay. In year 12, they're going to study tectonic processes in hazards, coastal landscapes, both of which they've studied before. Both are the physical subjects. That's the stuff that Darren teaches. It's far more technical when we're looking at tectonics, processes and hazards. Now, they know what I'm talking about, you probably don't. It's basically earthquakes and volcanoes to the uninitiated, but your kids will know what we're talking about. And it gets a lot more technical pretty quickly. Okay, but it builds on what they've done at GCSE. One of the reasons I like them to have done GCSE geography before. I have had kids do A-level geography with me that have not done GCSE geography before. That has never gone well. I've maybe done it 4 times over the years. I've been persuaded to allow someone to do it, and it's never gone well. Because we do very much build on what they've done at GCSE. We want to maximise their grade at the end of the day. We do a day of field work, and they have to write that up. Again, that's where the literacy comes in. They've got to write 3,000 words on a piece of on a day's data collection that we've done. They've got to analyse data. Again, they've done that before. They've all done it before. They've done it at Dawlish Warren, and they've written me 2,500 words already. Some of them have written more for their controlled assessment. So they've already done that sort of thing. So it very much builds on what they've done at GCSE. And we do that on purpose because we choose our syllabuses for that reason, so that they can get the best possible grade at A-level. The other side of Year 12, which is human geography, the bit I teach, this is going to be all new to them. We do a little bit of that, but not much. There's a whole unit on globalisation, looking at how globalisation works for you, the parents in this room, how it doesn't work for you, how it works for our country, how it doesn't work for our country, and how it affects other countries. Okay, some of you might work for transnational corporations, I don't know. Some of you might not, but certainly if you work for a transnational corporation, it's benefited you more than anybody else. We look at some of the diverse places and people, and how, if you look back to, what was the exam question? Assess the extent to which cultural diffusion caused by globalisation inevitably leads to social and political tension. Okay, there you go. That causes social and political tension. It's causing it now. It's very current. It's looking at stuff in the news now. Our vote to leave the European Union, whether you agree with it or not, was great news if you're a geography teacher, okay, and an economics teacher, because that answers lots of our questions and is a fantastic example. The reasons that we left, the reasons that we voted to leave, how people felt about the European Union, and actually what is the European Union, what does it do? Why did we join in the first place? Why don't other countries want to leave? Why did we leave? It all comes into this. The tensions caused by immigration, however you feel about it, it gets quite political. Students, I tend to just tell them the facts and they make up their own minds. And we get a lot of class debates going on. Some people get quite passionate about it. And an interesting thing about 17 and 18-year-old kids that I've taught over the years is when you first start to teach them at 17 in September, they very much reflect their parents' views. They get their political views from you. By the time they're 18, they don't. Their mind is changed. They might still agree, they might not, but they're their own opinions. And a subject like this, the sort of subject matter that we cover, kind of helps them shape that, really. Help shape that and change their opinions on things sometimes. Or reinforce them, it depends. We look at whether you should pay £1 for a t-shirt. I don't say that you should or shouldn't, it's up to you. But if you do, it's not been made by a well-paid professional in the UK with maternity pay, holiday pay, and safe working conditions. But you have to make your own mind up about those things. I don't know. But that's the sort of things that we study and we talk about. And it provokes a lot of discussion. Some people get quite passionate about it. We used to sell chocolate in the canteen, drinking chocolate in the canteen at school. It was not fair trade. I did one lesson on fair trade in what it actually meant. And year 8 boycotted the chocolate in the canteen. I got into loads of trouble for that. But the canteen now sells fair trade drinking chocolate. So, you know, you can make a difference. Where does it take you? A whole host of degrees related to geography, often environmental management and resource exploitation. The people that I did my degree with, the ones that are making a lot of money out of it, are working in the oil industry. So, you know, it can take you in all sorts of different directions. I worked in the oil industry for a little while. I put on some of that experience when I'm teaching. So, you know, it can lead you in all sorts of different directions. It's also something called a facilitator subject, or facilitating subjects. I don't know if you know what they are. There are 8 of them. If you are wanting to go to a red brick university, i.e. one of the better universities in the UK, if you want to go to Bristol, Exeter, Oxford, Cambridge, universities like that, they actually prefer students to have studied 2 facilitator subjects. And they don't really care which ones. It's much more about the study skills and the broader knowledge than it is about the subject matter. That's the Redbrook universities. Other universities are now wanting students to have studied at least one. I don't know if Selena's been through what the 8 facilitator subjects are with you. She has, great. I don't need to bother with that, but geography is one of them. Skills, they do build a lot of skills. Trying to look at stuff impartially, particularly in my unit, when we're talking about very sort of, subjective material, looking at bias and who you should believe and who you shouldn't. Donald Trump's a very controversial character. You might look at his opinions on things, and some of them might be right. You might be surprised to learn that some of them are right. I was surprised to find out that some of them are right, but it's things that are current in the news today. Fair trade I talked about, but yeah, so it can take you in all sorts of different directions.
You need to move into questions.
Yes.
Soon, so.
Okay. That means I need to move into questions.
You said it so nicely then.
You did. Are there any questions anybody wants to ask me? You can ask me anything. Not any more capital cities though, I've got enough of that. Anything you want me to ask me?
They're working now, of
No.
course.
No. Now you've prompted me.
Yeah.
That's how they're assessed. If you've got anything you want to ask me about that, that's it's kind of fairly evenly weighted between physical and human. A synoptic investigation, they have to investigate an issue, and there's no right or wrong answer to that, but they need to come up with their own opinion and be able to support their opinion with evidence, not just I don't like school uniform because the sort of things they say. Whatever reasons are, but they've got to be able to justify their argument, and they're doing independent piece of coursework as well. Are you sure there's no questions?